Sorry, we had a little problem with our sound here. But well, thank you so much for being here, Isaac.
Oh, my
It's a
pleasure, man. The pleasure's all mine. All mine.
Can you please introduce yourself to our listeners?
Of course, of course. So, hi there, everyone. I'm Isaac. So, I'm one of the previous teachers from Times. So, I had a great time teaching at Times because it was an amazing methodology. And the guys over there were so cool with me. I made so many friends. So, and actually, being a teacher is not my first profession, so I'm totally into IT, and IT is my
Really?
area as well. Yeah.
Oh, nice. You've been around, and I see there's a story behind it, right?
Yes, exactly. So when I first decided to study, to seriously study, it was really crazy because I was lost in my life, like I spent some time in the military doing some things. Yes, I have another background before IT,
And you're only 23 years old.
Yes, exactly. I already messed it up with my life so many times, so. But then I decided that I wanted to help society somehow. And I saw that technology was a thing that wasn't being so developed, or it was being developed, but not so well here in Brazil. Then I decided that I wanted to be one of the guys that were here to make the difference in technology,
This would be one of my questions. But before that, how was the transition, man, from an English teacher to an IT professional?
Oh, so it was such a natural transition, to say the least, because teaching someone and teaching a computer how to compile a code is not that different,
Really?
The thing is that the computer, won't know how to react to every command you give it, but like, it's almost the same. I feel like it's almost the same, You're teaching something to develop itself, and seeing this development happening is so incredible. You just get so, proud of yourself by doing so. It's
After
incredible.
this transmission, the IT professionals are gonna, right.
Exactly.
And Isaac, can you describe your work routine, man? How is like day by day? What do you exactly do?
Of course. So nowadays, my work routine is really cool and soothing, So I wake up every day at 6. I just, kind of have breakfast for 3 hours long. Then I start
4
working
liters
at
of
all.
coffee.
Exactly. That's the point, because we have to activate the brain to work properly, right? Then I start working at 9, but before working at all, I always like, mainly at the beginning of the week, to reunite my group of work and to give them some instructions. Not instructions at all, but talk about how they're feeling, if they're good to work, to see if anything happened that will kind of interfere the way they are working, I like to have a feedback about them, so then I can elaborate a routine for them and for myself as well. So my routine depends totally on my team, and I'm always connected with them. So
Man, this is very interesting because you kind of plan the working day ahead, and if there is any mishappening, you can solve
Exactly.
before you even started.
exactly.
nice.
So prevent to make it happen.
You
That's
you
my motto.
mention a team, and a lot of people say that people who works with IT, they're kind of introspective, But I see you are quite the opposite. You're a more outgoing guy. But how do you relate? How do you deal with other people, coworkers, for example, or maybe clients? I don't know, that are introspective. How do you make this bridge, man?
Oh, that's an amazing question, because it's difficult if we analyze it like dealing with really introspective people, because they have their own way of thinking about things, thinking things through at all. But everyone will have a favorite subject that they love to talk about, So my job, mainly to customers and to my guys and girls, the guys that work with me, is finding this thing, is knowing how to talk about these things they like. Because if you talk to someone and this person just realizes that you're talking the same language, then you nailed it.
That's
Then you
the teacher aspect of you.
exactly,
It's
and that's
exactly
what
what
made my life way easier, while you're at this business, while talking to directors, talking to my crew, talking to everyone around me, because I have always been so communicative, and I always had this thing of being the center of attention, you know.
Okay.
Love this feeling, love this feeling.
Nice.
So when I arrived here, they asked me, "Oh, are you comfortable being, being recorded?" And I'm like, "I was born for it. I'm a star."
No, nice.
You know.
Okay, have you ever been, asked to develop something weird? You don't need to say who, hired you, but just what happened and how was it?
Yes, like I thought about this question really thoroughly, and there was a big enterprise that asked me to develop a kind of really inappropriate website, and this time of my life I was starting to work with it, to start working with IT at all, so I was developing my first things. I was totally getting into PHP a little bit better, I was getting into R. I was starting to learn Python and these things. And I was like, I need to make it work like perfectly, For me, I had to develop the best at the time. And it went really, really bad, because then I discovered, because some kind of content they wanted to upload, because I always like to double check everything someone asked me to put online, to put on a website, even if I am developing and being paid for it. Some content that some people, some companies at all want to put online to make available to people is kind of criminal. Most of the time, they're criminal, It can be due to, copyright. It can be due to, just repeating something that other people did that end up being really badly for them and for the company. So I like to double check. I always like to double check. And I developed this aspect by this experience, because then I started checking the videos, they were really inappropriate videos, but there were criminal stuff over there, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
Yes, and I was like, oh man, and then a dilemma started on my head. Like, should I call the police? Should I give this kind of material to them, or it will just make my name? I was a starter, I was beginning it. Like, if I do it, they will just make me one of the they will never recommend me. Okay. Nobody will know my name. I had this idea of being the center of the attention all the time. So I wanted to be the best in what I was doing. And then I realized that I had a dilemma on my hands. And I was like, okay, I will just give their money back and I will forget what I saw.
And you did the ethical thing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Tough, but the ethical thing.
But, I blame myself up to now because there were some disturbing stuff there, okay. And I was like, oh, I don't know if it is real at all, because there were no kind of source for these videos. They were they looked like homemade, and for me it was really disturbing.
Oh, creepy. Man, that's actually, if you're here with us, a very interesting hint that you can give, and a tip if you are starting the profession actually. Could this backfire on you?
For sure. We have to understand that when we are talking about IT, we are talking about a very closed section of production, of business itself.
It's not a no man's land.
Exactly. It is not a no man's land. So almost everything you're going to do towards that is related to recommendation. You are going to get into a big company by recommendation. You're going to get to big people by recommendation. So if you don't have a good appearance, if you don't have a good name on this area, so you'll be totally backfired, People won't hire you. People won't know your name. People won't like you at all because bad recommendation.
So I sense another thing, there. We have this stigma like, you work with technology, you are bad working with people. Basically, based on what you're just saying, it's totally a lie, or it's not. You need to be good with people.
Yes, but that's the point, because I always entered in this area thinking that I wanted to do everything I could by myself, you know. So I always had this kind of lone wolf thought in this part. Nowadays, thank God, I just realized that I need my crew, and I love you so much, guys. I hope you're watching. If you are not, you're all fired. Just kidding, just kidding. So I always had this feeling inside of me, you know, that I wanted to do anything by myself. I wanted to be everything I could, because I always had inside of me that to develop something, to be into something, you need to know the thing from scratch, you know. So if you want to be the president of Vasco, you need to know each one of the players. You need to know how to play in each of the position of the roles, you know. You need to know how your how the state of your stadium is, you know. So you have to know everything. And I was like that, you know. I wanted
their own language.
Exactly. You have to speak their language. That's the thing.
And by language, no pun intended, okay?
Exactly, but it would be a nice pun.
Yeah,
if it wasn't
but
intended.
now the opposite aspect, Isaac. What was the job you had that when you were doing, you had that feeling, oh my God, that's why I am in this field? What was it?
Man, one of my best jobs, like the one that I was totally realized, that I was totally fulfilled, that, you know, just made me one heck of a professional, was a social media work back to design that I did by myself to a guy that was starting in YouTube. Nowadays he's not a YouTuber anymore. He used to be known as Hulk Bear. I don't know if you know this guy. No, so he was not that famous at the time. But I was so proud of myself because it was the first time I was getting into this area of design. It was the first time that I was trying to mix up design with marketing, and I was just by myself and doing everything and going after sponsors. It was so marvelous, and I just felt that I was totally fulfilled by doing that, you know?
Nice.
But unfortunately, you know, it was not very profitable. That's why I gave up on this project. But you know, I got totally interested, 100% interested into this area of managing this IT business and managing teams and crews in this area.
I imagine because you were by yourself, it was something like a big responsibility, but a very self-fulfilling in this aspect. Like, I did this.
Exactly. It is really good. Like the first time you just create your hello world code and you compile it is fulfilling, you know. But when you develop a full project by yourself, knowing that each of the sponsors that are there watching the live or watching the video, you talk to them, you convince them to enter in this thing, you know. You're like, man, I'm the guy.
Nice.
You know,
it is like comparing with when you teach a hell of a class, you see the person learn, and say, oh my God, I contributed to that person.
Exactly.
That would be my next question, actually. Thinking about developing some app, for example, and you want to do the best as possible to all parties involved, to everybody involved in the project.
For sure.
From the person who hired you, like yourself, and the consumer, the users of this, you know. What are the aspects, like the hassles, the struggles that you have that the consumers of the thing, they have absolutely no idea that happens? Like behind the curtains, you know?
For sure. So it is really hard when it comes to applicability, like the final product that customers see. They've gone through lots of changes, you know. So it's really hard to deal with these changes because sometimes you idealize your idea and the project away, but the customer didn't like it, you know. The guy that hired you to do so didn't like it. And you are like, oh my God, I'll have to reinvent my idea. I will have to, you know, give another meaning to it, you know. And sometimes there are no ways to make the project that you just done completely again the way you want, just leaving your mark, you know, because at least for me it's really important when I'm developing a website, when I am into a campaign, to somehow leave my mark, you know. When people are seeing that, they know it's Isaac's, you know. It's Isaac's. For me, it's really important to leave my mark. And when I feel that there are some customers that they are not like it, they just want to erase my crew, they want to erase all the effort we put over there, you know. They want to make their way. So for me, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. Like, I can do it, but I know that it won't be something that I'll put my soul in, you know?
Okay, you feel like you're just a tool for some ends there.
Exactly, just
okay.
a tool.
You mentioned like working with a team. What's the most important aspect, man, to have a good interaction? Like to have a productive team with a good vibe, good co-working.
That's another amazing question. Like, the thing that works the best is knowing how to respect each other's limits and spaces and personal spaces, you know? Like, there are some guys that they will love talking to you on Mondays, Tuesdays, but on Wednesdays, they won't be cool to talk, you know?
Okay.
And there will be guys that won't talk to you, but that they are lone wolves and they do amazing jobs as well. It's not because the person doesn't communicate back to you that they are bad people or that they are not working properly. No, each one has a way to work, and we have to understand that. So personal space is something really important when it comes to IT, at least for me and for my team, you know? I know how to respect them and they know how to respect me, you know? And that's what created this kind of facility that we have to communicate to each other, because we understand each other's boundaries, you know? So I think that's important, like, you know, what kind of things you can talk to a guy and what kind of things you can't talk to the same guy.
Is the human aspect of the job as well.
Exactly.
One more time, you see, guys, we're still humans, right?
Exactly.
Man, that's nice. What makes a good app, in your opinion, man? Is the usability, the functionality, a good copy?
Man, for sure, the functionality, but not functionality as it is being developed. I mean, the final functionality, you know? The most user-friendly an app is, the better it is as well, you know? So if the users, they do not need any kind of guidance to use your app, if the users, they do not need any kind of manual to use your app, you've done the best job you could do. If they don't need any kind of guidance by your part, you're the best. You know?
Okay, you just start using and that's it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Something
I've never
natural.
thought about that. Interesting.
Natural.
Okay, we were talking before we actually started about that aspect of social media and the bubbles, and we talked about the stereotype that if you work with technology, you're normally a shy person, you stay in your bedroom, you don't see the sunlight, all of that stereotype. We don't create it, we're just mentioning it. But now, in your perspective, Isaac, do you think social media kind of increases this or like enhances? If you're already a shy person, if you are the IT guy who feels check all the boxes there, of this stereotype, this increases this, or maybe no, it's two separate things? How do you see it?
Yes and no, because it will depend totally on you, you know, how you feel with it, how you deal with it, how you cope with this kind of, being an antisocial person, it will all depend on the person. Like, for example, I told you that in my team, there are very different people working with me, So there is Giovanna, such an amazing, I hope you're watching it, G. If you're not, man, you're fired. Just kidding, you're not. I can fire them, I'm not their boss.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so G is such a cool person when it comes to talking about your life, asking counsels, asking for advices, just talking to her is pretty cool. But when it comes to deciding final ideas or giving a verdict and basing on to her judgment, no.
Okay,
no.
Not the best person.
Not the best person. And she's the kind of person that has lots of social medias. Like, she was the first one who introduced me to that Indian social media that was like the answer to Twitter. I guess it is Cook or something like that,
okay.
Yes. Cool. It was cool. So she introduced
like
me.
A now.
Yes,
exactly.
Exactly. A now. Yes. She introduced me to that, and I was like, okay, why do you need that? But it is because people on Twitter, they're getting crazy because Elon Musk is crazy and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, G, okay. And why do you need that? And she was like, people are using it. I have to use it as well. So that's the thing, I think that most of the people that have social media, they are using because they want to feel included,
But you're part of a group.
Exactly. Because humans, they need this kind of feeling of being part of something,
We need to belong somewhere.
Exactly. We need to belong. That's such a very important thing for us. Such a necessity we have, such a need we have. And for that to happen, sometimes we create a life, we build up a life that we don't truly have, you know?
The
Like
bubble.
exactly the
Yeah.
bubble. So like, and anonymity contributes to it a lot. You know, anonymity contributes for it like 100%, for example, because
You can cuss someone online and the person will never see your face, maybe.
Exactly as well. And as well because each social media is focused on a thing. So for example, when you are in Facebook, you are away. When you are tweeting on Twitter, you are another way, you know? So you just kind of disciplined yourself to have different perspectives and different personas in which social media, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of unite people on one of them, but at the same time separate them onto the other.
Exactly.
And there
like
is
people in a bar. Sorry to cut you
Oh, no,
off,
no,
but
that's
it's
okay,
like
please.
people in a bar like this, right?
Exactly.
Without being in the present moment.
Exactly. And like, you know, it just make people that are really far from your reality close to you, but the ones that are living with you, that are close to you every single day,
Yeah.
they just got apart.
And some, ironically, sometimes these people are the most important.
Exactly. And
Okay, we
forget
are
about
going
it.
philosophical here. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked you before, we can talk about it now as well. If technology in one aspect is dumbing us up because we're getting lazier and lazier, you know, like you started with that, you know, the stereotype of Homer Simpson in the
Yeah.
couch with the remote, having a beer like that.
Don't.
Yeah, exactly. But we have access to knowledge that we have never had before. You know, we have a library like on our hands.
Yeah,
You
for
know, you
sure.
can access any knowledge ever made in the world. So, how do you see the future? Are we gonna become like the movie
Wall-E.
Wall-E? Yeah,
Yeah.
like the post-apocalyptic scenario.
You know, I don't think so, because like we can see nowadays that people have been talking about having a good lifestyle and a healthy lifestyle so much because of this kind of aspect, you know. People are totally concerned about their health, you know, and they are working for it. They are working out. They are just getting after diets. They are changing their ways of their eating habits, let's say this way. So I think that technology won't be a problem in this area, you know. I think that when it comes to health, it will help people to be almost immortal in a so long dated utopia, you
Put
know.
a pin on this because we're gonna talk
Okay,
about it.
it's pinned. Don't worry. So I think that in the future we will depend on. We already depend a lot on technology, but I mean, like when it comes to the medicine part, they will need that a lot. You know, like nowadays we have. The most interesting thing about that when it comes to technology and the medicine field, the medicinal field, is that nowadays humans aren't perfect in medicine, but for a thing, because you get old. And the older you get, you lose control of your abilities. You start to tremble. You start to
fragile. Yeah.
Exactly, you are fragile, and you can't exert. You can't just do the things you used to do when you were young. You can't have the stability you used to have when you were young. And robots, they aren't like this, you know. Not robots, but like technology isn't like this, you know. Like we can see by our flesh. Like our flesh was made to last, like, you know, 100 years, you know, the max, being totally positive.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy lifestyle and everything. But metal bars, they were developed to last almost forever, you know.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that you have to think about, to be worried about, is rust and to clean it properly, etc. But like if you have this thing, surgeries, even the most complicated ones, will be the easiest ones, even for old doctors, you know. So technology is such a beautiful thing when it comes to developing the medicinal field a little bit better, you know. Not a little bit, like a lot better.
Yeah. Quick one here before I check the chat. Do you think the IT development, well, in general, will make some types of professions obsolete? Like they really will not exist anymore?
Okay, amazing question. That's the question I always like to answer with another
Go
question.
ahead.
So, can you live without social interaction? Answer me this. Can you live without seeing other people, without talking to other people?
in a healthy way, no. I
It's
don't think so.
impossible, right?
Yeah.
The same way, like, okay, there will be artificial intelligence, like they already exist, you know, that will know how to teach you, will know how to give you the knowledge for the things, but the human touch is something different. Like, you need this human touch. Like, a robot can touch your brain, but only another human can touch your soul, you know, and that's the difference that we teachers have to make.
A nice cut.
Exactly.
No, a robot cannot touch your soul. Nice, man.
Exactly.
Isaac, do you think there are fields that are still unexplored in technology? And if so, what would be, I don't know, the next trend? Holograms, no. Damn, I like
Holograms would be cool, but yes, you know, holograms would be cool, but they are not so necessary nowadays.
Overrated. Yeah.
Exactly, overrated. That's the
Sorry,
word.
too many Blade Runner.
Yeah. So yes, like there are lots of fields that must be explored and that are starting to be explored right now. But I mean, like at the same time that we progress, we kind of have some kind of retrocesses on the way, you know, because like we are human beings, we have political discussions, social discussions, so we get to a point that the human interference is a need, is a must, because like some things, they are really unethical to be done, you know. For example, testing technologies and nanotechnologies on humans, you know, like they are not 100% ready, so wouldn't be approved by any kind of government, you know, so we shouldn't do it. It's unethical.
We struggle a lot when it's about vaccines.
Exactly. Imagine just ingesting just you know, putting nanobots inside of your body, and sometimes without your proper consenting.
No, I know. I'm going fully Joe Rogan on you right now.
Okay, please.
But don't you think? No, I'm just kidding. Don't you think that maybe some people they have access to some type of technology that like the public doesn't?
For sure, for sure. You know, like for example, do you guys think that Elon Musk has a normal cell phone?
I don't think he has a normal body.
Exactly. That man has the Cybertruck right over here on his torso, you know?
Yeah.
It's like awesome. But yeah, man, I think that some people, they have this kind of access because they are leader of technology. They are just leading technology to a new era, you know? But like, we have to remember that they're just tests yet, you know? They're just being tested. So some people, because of the human source of the problem, the human interaction, the human interference, they prefer to test on themselves.
Okay,
you know,
it's like a Tony Stark.
Yes, like a Tony Stark thing, exactly. You know.
Okay, we here in Times, you know that we have this kind of relation with the superhero movie.
For sure.
You know,
that's why Times is the best.
But which aspect of this universe, you know, you think has got really close to reality? Thinking about Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, or everything. Is there like one episode or one move you said, maybe this will happen in a few years?
That's a nice question. I would say that like by the recent activities that we had by the incidents involving China's spying balloons and these kind of things, you know, we are really close to a kind of Avengers Civil War, but the Avengers being the potencies of the world, you know, and
not the heroes.
Come on. And we have them separated into co-allegations that do agree to some things and do disagree on other things, you know?
It would be like a rupture somewhere.
Exactly. Like it would be a third Cold War. Like we're having a third Cold War going on.
Nice cut.
Exactly. Cold War. It's just it's not October yet, but it's cold.
Okay, I already know that Skyrim is one of your favorite games.
Yes,
but
it is.
What would be your top 3? You can even recommend to our listeners.
When it comes to games in general.
No, movies or series that are related to technology. People, I've never watched it, sorry, but they say a lot of by the iRobot, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Isaac Asimov that developed the book.
Guy.
Yes.
He's a very good actor.
Oh, okay, you mean the actor, sure.
Yeah, but is the show nice as well? And it's like hacking stuff, I don't know.
Yes, it is good. Like, not my kind of entertainment, you know, but it is good. It is really good. It is really, you know, attainable. You can believe what he's telling you, he's showing you, because it is somehow related, you know. Of course, sometimes the show goes too far on some things, but every show goes, you know, so it's totally
That's
okay.
why we watch them.
But like for people that are in IT, so you know that artificial intelligence, they have been through a kind of max nowadays. So it's really good for you to start reading some books of Isaac Asimov, and not because he has my first name, but like the guy was a genius when it comes to robotics, you know. So he was the one that created the book, that developed the book, that wrote down the book, Artificial Intelligence, AI, you know. That was a movie that
2001.
Yeah,
Spielberg
2001.
movie, I guess.
Spielberg movie, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good at it. You're good at it. And the other one that is really famous as well, that he introduced the laws for the robotics.
The movie with Will Smith.
Exactly. I guess it is the name of the book isn't the same as the movie. Like the book is I, Robot, and but the movie has another name. Like it was changed a little
something
bit.
like this. Yeah.
You know, so it was really good. It was really good. The book is really good. The presumptions that he develops is really good as well. So that would be one of the pillars for you guys that are into IT to know about, and into science fiction in general as well, you know. The second one, it's hard to think about it, you know, because like there are so many cool things to top tier them is really, really, you know, difficult somehow. And I would say that it would be games related to utopic and dystopic worlds, like Fallout, exactly, you know, Cyberpunk, you know, it's a cool game as well. Not just to understand the idea, the concept of technology as something that can take over the world somehow, but as well to be in touch with new ideas, you know, because like I think that when it comes to IT, not every, but most of the ideas, they are kind of replicated, or they are being better developed now, you know. So if we come to this kind of utopic things and start getting some thoughts that would be almost impossible 10 years ago to be developed, you know, we can just create new things, have new ideas that would be totally revolutionary.
I don't know if you had this impression, Isaac, but some of the concepts that we have today, like we mentioned, they spooky. We are gonna talk about spooky stuff now, okay? But for example, the idea that we can use technology to ever become immortals, for example. I don't know, maybe like the nanobots thing, you know, I'm going to the transhumanism aspect.
Sure, perfect.
But that's not a new idea, because if you go to the Homero, I don't know, the Greek mythology, we had these archetypes of gods and demons and monsters that they represent an ideal of the perfect human, or maybe this is good, this is bad. And today, that's the scary aspect in a way, but fascinating in another. We are kind of almost reaching out to those things, you know. Maybe we could have the technology. So my question for you, very simple one, of course. This is one of the special classes that we had in the school as a conversation. Cool. Okay, the idea of technology evolution, will we ever go to the marvelous aspect of transhumanism? Maybe we will have like the perfect health condition because our body has this nanobot that could detect invasive organism and recover, or anything like that. Are we gonna go full Skynet or Matrix maybe?
You know, I'm a pretty nihilistic guy, so I would go for the Skynet idea, but like being totally realistic, just leaving my beliefs away from this. I would say that, you know, it is such an unknown to talk about this, such an unknown thing to talk about, because we can predict that. I will just act as ChatGPT now, guys, okay? We can predict the future, you know, we can't know how much time we have left as a species, you know? Maybe 50 years from now, we go extinct, you know? And like all the work we've been doing up to now will be nothing. So like we have to, first of all, focus on the aspect of developing somehow tools or educating people to understand that the world is our home, and our first concern must be protecting it, because man, it's our world, it's our home.
Yeah, of
like
course.
if we don't have a home, we don't have somehow to develop technologies. We don't have a base to develop technologies, Oh, but you may go to Mars with Elon Musk, Isaac. Guys, come on, only rich people will go there. If you don't have billions of dollars, probably you won't go. So, and like we should focus first onto these environmental problems that we're having that are totally at the extreme right now. Like the sea levels are rising pretty much. So like we have a basis of them rising naturally by 0.02 millimeters a year, and we are getting to 0.62 millimeters by only this year, so the sea level raise these years was like more than the double.
Damn.
So it's like something that has been really bad, and we are focusing too much onto the other side. Like, oh, will we have that technology? Like, I think that the first question that we should ask ourselves is, will we have the world to develop this technology yet?
Okay. How far are we from it? Maybe
Exactly.
It's too distant comparing to how long we will be here. Maybe.
Exactly.
All right. And okay, this I got from my TED talk I saw with Sam Harris, about artificial intelligence. And he was talking about if I can never have conscience in like in an artificial intelligence. How do you see that, man? Because I don't know. Nick Bostrom, I mentioned.
Yeah, sure.
Do you share his perspective? Maybe. You
It's
don't need to go full philosophical on it, but
got it.
Is this kind of, I don't know, doable? Maybe.
maybe like I see it like my perception, of course, the same way as raising a child. Like you have to know which kind of behaviors you are introducing to this child. You have to know which kind of perspectives you're giving to this child, so like if you raise them well, you're going to have nice results. But if you don't know how to raise a child, don't try. It will end up badly,
okay. The chat GPT, it goes, it depends on the protocols.
Yes.
If you have safe protocols.
Exactly.
No, don't worry. Of course it will say that,
Exactly.
You mentioned are you a father, man?
No, I'm not.
Okay, but all right, from your perspective, guys, one parenthesis here. If you have questions, send them on the chat. Before I ask you my father question, let's take a look at the chat. Okay, there is one here we covered. One moment. Okay, Giovanna asked here, do you think the profession increases the introspective and maybe the introspective aspect of the professional? Like we mentioned before, the IT people, they are kind of shy. The profession is neutral to it, or increases, or is the opposite? He will meet other people or something like that.
I'm really humanistic when it comes to these aspects, like I put all the responsibility of being a professional, being introspective or being totally outgoing in their leaders, because if they have nice leaders that want them to show up, want them to be seen at all, they will give it away for them to shine. They will not be introspective, because people, they are introspective. These can help them become more introspective. But like, if you do care about your teammates, if you do care about your team, you have to find ways to try to pull them off, like not interfering on their comfort zone, not removing them by force, but leading them to see that, they can develop a better sense of communication, like, so I put all this fault of introspective people on IT onto the leaders and companies that don't know how to work onto that,
You're feeding what is already there and not changing.
Exactly.
Okay, this is something interesting. I see a lot of recruiters, they comment about the human aspect of the work, especially on social media, LinkedIn, or And they mentioned this, that it's not because technology is evolving, the professionals are evolving together, that you have to forget that we're still humans there, right?
Exactly, for sure.
Okay, a quick one here. How to make, Adriele asked, how to make money with IT?
Oh, how to make money with IT.
I will introduce how to make money quickly in the
Okay,
profession.
quickly, okay.
Yeah, what would be the pathway?
So, it will all depend on what you're interested in, you know? So, for example, if you are someone that is really interested in design, it's nice for you to start not a career, but a portfolio, you know? Just presenting your works on LinkedIn, as well into other websites that are backed to portfolios, you know? It's nice for you to start depending on your area. You have to have a focus, you have to be focused onto what you want to do. So, for example, I was always totally into web designing. So I started developing websites since I was like a teenager. So at my 13s, I was already developing websites, you know, silly websites, silly games as well, or just copying some games that already
Are they
existed.
still on?
Yeah and no at the same time. Legally, they are not, but you know the answer, guys.
Ah, okay.
So
All right.
just among us. So I think that you have to discover what you want to do. Like what is your not your vocation at all, but what do you want to focus on, you know? So for example, I always developed these websites that I like, that I love it. Like it was something that was kind of a hobby to me at that age, and it is yet one of my hobbies. I love doing so.
Nice.
So if you want to make quick money, do something that you like doing and something that you think that is your area of knowledge, you know?
Okay.
So
So
for
they're all the areas, they're kind of, you can make money with that. You have a diverse
exactly, you can
range
make
there.
money with anything. Like one thing that my grandfather used to tell me that is totally true, and I see that mainly about living in São Paulo, is that if there are stupid people to buy, sell it. You know, so it's it. Like there will be a public interested in it. You have to go for them. You
And
have
study
to go
it
for them.
too, right? Study your public.
Exactly.
Nah, interesting.
Exactly.
Okay, let's suppose I want to start as an IT professional or developer. Would you recommend I go to a university and do the full course or system analysis? Or no, maybe if I'm self-taught. I will study the stacks, and then like by myself I will start working. Both are okay, or one is quicker than the other? How do you see this?
Oh, that question is so amazing, man. So
I
amazing.
see this discussion a lot
it's,
online here.
It's so perfect. Like, I will tell you guys that what suits you better. So, like, if you are the one that likes having this contact with professors, with teachers, with guides, university courses, they are really nice for that. But if you're someone that likes to teach yourself the things you like to learn by yourself, every single step of the way is important for you, and you like to learn the things by yourself, it's good for you to take free courses. Like there are really great sites over there just focusing onto this kind of mainly learning different development languages nowadays. And what suits you better? That's my answer. So if you think that you will learn better by going to a university, having the contact with your colleagues, having the social experience of a university, perfect. But if you think that what suits you better is being by yourself, focused on to what you're doing, go for it. Because nowadays we have to discuss about the neurodivergences that people develop, that people were born with, not developed because we can develop in neurodivergency. Like, and I see that if we put someone with ADHD into a classroom, like following the model that we have here in Brazil of teaching people, this person won't get anything from the professor, from the teacher that is leading the group, you know?
And we feel terrible too.
Exactly,
like,
and we feel terrible.
I'm stupid, but I
Maybe
can't
we're just
learn.
leading this person to a full depression by doing so, by insisting that no, the best way is taking a university degree, is taking a university major. No, like you have to do what you think is more comfortable to you. Because I know a lot of genius people when it comes to IT, that they are totally self-taught, and I know a lot of brilliant people as well that they attended universities regularly.
I see seniors that are like self-taught.
Exactly.
I'm asking this because a current discussion that we see in some social medias is like we should have regulation in the profession.
For sure.
And then people will discuss, okay, regulation would be good because you could, I don't know, avoid abusive positions and this type of things, but in other aspects could make a lot of people unemployed. Like, you need to have a degree in the area, something like this. So how do you see that, man? What do you think would be like a better scenario for the professions?
Man, I'll tell you what I do when I want to hire people, when I want to increase my workforce. So first of all, I go for the portfolio. Like, okay, it is really important to check on the curriculum, to check on in the institutions that they have studied. It is, of course. But what talks to me, what talks to my heart is how you can develop a project. If you have a portfolio that suits me, that I like, that is like, sugar to my taste, that's what I'm looking for, Oh, but I don't have an university degree. That's okay. You have a portfolio that told me what I needed to know about you.
It's a very flexible profession then.
Yes, it is. It is. That's why I always start saving the things you do, start saving your projects, start having a portfolio, because it is really important. If you're truly interested in joining the area, start by now. Do not wait to develop something big. No, the small things, they matter a lot when it comes to technology.
Man, that's a very nice recommendation. One question that I want to ask you is, like, nowadays kids are growing with tablets and computers and cell phones. How do you see these? We are getting closer and closer to technology, earlier and earlier, What would be the best way to deal with that? We were a few minutes ago talking about social media could be a problem. We were discussing before, like if you don't use social media to make money, maybe, don't use it.
Yeah, please
but
avoid it.
What about kids, like, because it's easier and easier for them.
Exactly.
How should we have, like, what would be the limit, the line? Okay, my kid is 3 years old, give him a cell phone.
This discussion comes a lot to parental control, like, of course, we need to develop every time better parental control while cyber security agents, we need to work it the best we can, because we know that kids, they are really intelligent when it comes to technology nowadays, mainly because most of the things nowadays, they are with this idea of being totally user-friendly that we already discussed.
A lot of icons with a lot of colors.
Exactly. It calls their attention and catch their attention, and we have to be really, really careful with that when developing an app, when developing something like that we know that kids will have access, We have to focus on parental control when it comes to developing apps to kids, developing things that kids can have access to, And of course, we can't just limit this discussion to the professional part, We have to come up as well with the discussion of parents caring about that as well,
Yeah, because some apps you enter, I have more, I'm older than 18 years old.
Exactly, you have to
yes, I am,
that.
And maybe the kid is 12,
Exactly. And come on, nowadays it's so easy to create a form for them to type up the date that they were born, Okay. It's pretty easy. It would be something that kids wouldn't know how to do, and it would prevent them. It would prevent them to access this kind of content, inappropriate content, just by doing this simple thing. But, I think that when it comes to this kind of content, the more clicks they get, the better. And they don't care. They don't really care about that. They know that they can do better
than that. It's not my job.
Exactly. Okay. But yes, it is their job. We're talking about someone that by the age of 5 is getting informations that she or he is going to replicate, and this kind of information can be totally degenerative to her or his behavior, to their way of acting as a human being, as a social being, We're talking about something that can totally put them off. You know?
It will stimulate something like this there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as well, parents, they have to take care. They have to take care. Like, okay, oh, my son started, throwing a fit just because I didn't give him or her just didn't give him my cell phone. Oh, okay, here's my, no, come on. It's just a
Parenting
fit.
skills, basically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
parenting skills, exactly. Oh, but okay, Isaac, I'm a parent, but I don't have these skills. Nowadays we have ChatGPT for. Just ask for ChatGPT,
Yeah.
that it will give you the answers.
Yeah. Somebody asked here in the chat, has anyone watched the movie Ready Player One? Any thoughts about it? I haven't. I'm
Man,
sorry.
I haven't as well. So sorry. So sorry.
We talked about movies, but what about games, mate? What's your top 3 now?
My
You
top
mentioned
3.
Fallout.
Fallout,
Any
yes.
other one?
But Fallout is my third favorite one.
Okay.
My second one would be Skyrim. My first one is totally The Witcher, man.
Okay.
Totally The Witcher. I love the development of the game, the way Geralt just grows up as a character and as a man,
And is there any type of platform, website, game that when you see, I'm asking because as a musician, whenever I listen to a song that I really like, I say, oh my God, I wish I had composed this, I had written this song. Have you ever felt this with a game or with an app? Like, it's, oh my
Sure.
God, I would totally do this.
Sure.
How was it?
So, like I'm from the SoundCloud generation, I was 12 when SoundCloud was released to the public, and it was really, really cool to know that I could create a kind of song and develop and just show people over there, show to that community, to isolated community that is huge nowadays.
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to soundtracks, game soundtracks, and developing songs, these kind of things, you can start from the basics by, like there are even tiny games, tiny apps nowadays that you can just select the beats you want. They have pre-made beats, they have pre-made melodies that you can use, So even the artificial intelligences nowadays, they know how to compose melodies and these things. So nowadays it's pretty accessible, this kind of thing of being a creator of content of any kind, So it all depends on you wanting to do so or not.
You made me think about something interesting. I saw a lot of, you are a designer, so I need to get your perspective on this. I saw a lot of art, or maybe art, I don't want to go there, but the discussion was if it is something made from artificial intelligence, it's not art, especially some, it was something related to RPG, fantasy, a lot of beautiful arts, honestly. And people say, well, if it wasn't a human who made it, it's not considered art. And some designers, they were actually angry, like, oh, you cannot go there because, I'm gonna lose my job. How do you see this, man? Worried or like, no?
I do agree with the guys, the artists that are feeling kind of cheated on by this kind of thing, because the artificial intelligence is just joining lots of pieces that it, quotation marks, stole from places we don't know,
Okay,
so
the references.
yes, exactly, there are lots of references that are not totally honored by the intelligence itself, by the artificial intelligence itself. So it's kind of really bad for an artist to see that, like, some people, they create pieces of art that are so incredible, and suddenly just an artificial intelligence that you type up some words create the same thing in a faster way, you feel totally undervalued, you know?
Something a way. There is a book from Paul Bloom, is a psychologist, is like how pleasure works. I will offer maybe a solution. If you say this is an IT made thing, people will have one view about it. And he defends that we are essentialists.
Sure,
Like if you have a coin that is just a coin, you will say, well, it's just a coin. But if you know your favorite rock star flipped this coin and threw to the audience, you say, wow, it's the coin that my favorite artist threw. So because of the story we assume the object to have, we kind of give more value. Like a real Monet would be like, I don't know, millions, and a false one, even with the same aspect, would be like,
Sure.
Maybe this could be a way to go, like, okay, guys, that wasn't a person, it was an IT who made this, and then you could kind of
balance the thing.
Maybe, I don't know, or maybe people could simply say, I don't give a
I think
damn.
that the thing is, sometimes people, they studied a lot to get to the places they are,
the skills they required,
exactly.
right?
They invested money onto that, and like, imagine that you invested your whole life. Let's suppose that you're 25 and you invested your whole life into learning how to be a graphic designer, into learning how to create this kind of really unique images, exceptional images. And suddenly a teenager called Sophia, that's my sister's name, and I know that's my sister's name, and I know that she does so, just type up some commands to an artificial intelligence and creates a beautiful art, So I think that it's somehow related to the ego, as a professional as well. So it is something that attacks you personally,
Yeah, and it depends on how the public respond to that as well. There is the responsibility as a consumer when you think about that, the other aspect. Okay, oh boy, we are running out of time, so if you have a question, send now in the chat. Please. I'm gonna read it. Okay, all right. What would be your recommendation for those who want to start today? Like, okay, first thing you need to get these. I'm going like in the broad picture. Some people think you need to have an expensive computer to start coding, for example, or this language would be the best to start. I see a lot of tribalism everywhere. Python people versus Java people, and fighting, and anyway, what would be the best first steps in your perspective, Zach?
So the first step is discovering your area. So you have to try to guess which area is yours, to guess if you're a system analyst, if you are a app developer, if you are a full stack developer, or just a back stack developer, and things like that. You have to find your area. You have to be totally aware of who you are as a professional. And for that, you can start just shooting around, you can try designing things, you can try creating websites, you can try just developing some apps. Oh, but Isaac, I have no kind of knowledge into source codes, or into developing source codes using R, using Java, using any kind of coding languages. Guys, nowadays we have so many no-code and low-code applications that you just type up simple things, or you just move simple things around, and you have a full and all worked up application on your hands,
Damn.
So we can just start by that, if you are into this area. Okay. But if you are into design, like nowadays, most apps, they have this kind of accessibility too, that you can move around the things as well to create something by your own, and then you start studying it a little bit better. If it interests you, just give a look at the source code and go for it, So discover yourself is the first step,
Okay.
The second one is totally having a focus on your mind. So you have to develop a project that you truly want to work on, something that will totally define who you are professionally, something that will call people to you, will get people's attention back to you. That's the most important part. So do something that defines you, And the third step is like, like Caesar would say when he conquered Rome, Vini, vidi, vici. I came, I saw, I conquered,
Okay, nice.
So just go for it.
Isaac, thank you so much for being here, man. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is all mine.
Virtual.
Oh, yeah.
Fist bump.
Exactly.
Okay, the time is yours, man. If you want to say anything else to our listeners,
So, guys, thanks a lot for listening to me and to this amazing podcast. Thanks a lot for Times as well to invite me over there. It was such a pleasure to have you around. And a kiss to your hearts. Love you all so much, guys.
Thank you so much, people. I am Maick, your host. And stay tuned. We're going to be posting a lot on YouTube. I'm already excited for episode 3. Okay, leave a comment, follow, share, okay? And see you on our next episodes of Talking Times. Bye bye.